Opening these conduits into the unconscious mind is a tremendous blessing and a tremendous curse. What do you do when you go home at night? What does your wife say to you? How was your day at the office, honey? Certainly you bring home far more than a briefcase full of papers, and that's the downside of being involved in this very bizarre world of psychic spying.
Late one night in December 1988, all members of the remote viewing team were summoned for an emergency session.
What's up?
I don't know, they called us all in.
You gotta be kidding. They need all of us?
Yep, the whole team.
But that never happens. Serious stuff, huh?
He sure is. And you can forget that party of yours. We're here till we finish.
Your coordinates are 0307 and 7102. Access the target and describe what you see.
There was a tremendous amount of pain involved with this particular target. We saw ourselves standing in the cabin of this aircraft. And we kept watching this aircraft explode. And then we would be asked to go back again and to relive it again, go right back to the moment just before it exploded again and be able to try to pinpoint where this explosion took place.
Hours later, the target of the mission was revealed to the team.
What we were looking at was Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland, which we were forced to relive over and over again. And it was literally within hours of that aircraft exploding in midair that the remote viewers were providing information to the Defense Intelligence Agency that stated that there was an explosion that took place in the front left quadrant of this aircraft, below the passenger line and in front of the wings. And in fact, when the evidence was made known, that was indeed where an explosion took place.
In part two, the remote viewing program takes a more sinister turn, putting David Morehouse under tremendous pressure. He has to decide whether he is prepared to use his gifts as a weapon of death. US Army officer David Morehouse has undergone intensive training to become a psychic spy, but the onset of the Gulf War forces him to search his own conscience.
In November 1990, Saddam Hussein threatened to destabilize the Middle East. America's need for military intelligence was paramount. At Fort Meade, David Morehouse and his colleagues were now asked to use their psychic powers to a more sinister end.
Saddam Hussein actually accused the United States openly in the media of using or employing psychics against him. And everyone looked at him and just thought, what a madman. But in actuality, we were indeed targeting him psychically.
Morehouse vehemently opposed this new strategy known as remote influencing. He believed it was an unjustifiable use of the remote viewer's abilities.
When I realized that we're reaching out to kill with it, I felt that I had a moral and an ethical responsibility to violate my security oath and to tell the story about this to the American people.
Morehouse decided to go public, but the tale of the Pentagon's involvement in psychic espionage was already beginning to emerge. In 1995, the CIA admitted the existence of Operation Grill Flame and its predecessors. In the wake of the negative publicity which followed, the remote viewing unit was closed. Morehouse continued with his campaign to reveal the true story and met the full force of the intelligence community.
The entire military structure of the Criminal Investigation Division came after me and unraveled every aspect of my life. This took a tremendous toll on my family. My children were beside themselves. They were emotionally disturbed. My wife and I would be separated as a result of this. But I persisted in telling this story because I felt that truth was the only thing that I had that was an anchor and a tether in my life.
Faced with the possibility of a 40-year jail sentence for breaking his security oath, Morehouse reluctantly chose the only alternative available to him.
Tearfully, with my father standing by my side, I tendered my resignation, ending 18 years of more than honorable service to this country. It cost me a family, and it cost me a career to tell the truth.
Despite his humiliating expulsion from the army and the breakup of his marriage, David Morehouse remains a passionate supporter of remote viewing, but he's determined it should be used for humanitarian rather than aggressive purposes.
For so long, this was just hidden away. It should be something that's brought out to help all of humankind, not being sequestered away as a weapon of war or as an espionage tool.
Carteret, New Jersey, a residential suburb on the outskirts of New York. Earlier this year, a local man went missing.
We weren't concerned for about the first couple days that there was any suspicion of foul play, but then after we actually got into the investigation, then it became a little bit of a more serious matter. We tried everything, we looked everywhere, we talked to everyone. In this case, it was like he just disappeared off the face of the earth.
The investigation was running into the ground. As a last resort, Deputy Chief Nagy approached David Morehouse. He persuaded him to come to Carteret to hold a remote viewing session at the police station.
I had no idea what it was that I was looking at. I just obviously knew by nature of the fact that I was working with a police department that it obviously had to be something sinister.
I hope this is okay for you, Dave.
Looks fine, Dennis. Thanks.
Ready, Dave? Here are the coordinates. 6571 9304. Access and describe the current location of a missing person.
I began stepping into the ether. And the longer I stayed in there working on the target, the more clear the vision became about what the target looked like. And I just started unraveling this thing, looking through the eyes of a dead man.
He was in there for about 90 minutes. He came out almost a completely different person. It was as if he worked an 8-hour shift.
Gentlemen, this is Dave Morehouse. As you know, Dave's helping us with our investigation.